And welcome back to Stories from the River. This is your typical host, Charlie Maloof, and we are here in the midst of our Ashley's Right to Win Bootcamp series. And so this is the fourth episode in our 5-part series. And so the first episode was my interview with Renee Bradley. The second episode was my interview with Teresa Thompson, a field sales manager from Ashley Furniture Industries. And then on Tuesday, you would have heard from Chris Barrier, an area manager from the North region, an area within the North region called the Supernova. And so today, in this episode, we're going to hear from 4 of our memory makers who attended the Bootcamp series. We'll hear from Kensley Phillips from the Flagship Enterprise, and Jim Walker, also from the Flagship Enterprise, Angel Santana from the Rock Hill Raiders, and Josh Hatchell, who's not in sales, but he's a senior retail experience manager also at the Flagship Enterprise. These interviews took place in Pineville, which is our Flagship Enterprise location. Pineville was one of our 8 host sites. They took place in April during our 4-day Ashley's Right to Win Bootcamp series. So we asked some of these folks some questions about the event, the training, their learnings, their takeaways. I think you'll really like this episode with the insights shared from these 4 incredibly talented memory makers. So thanks so much for joining us every Tuesday and Thursday. We try to bring you the freshest content here behind the scenes at Stories from the River. Thanks so much for joining us. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
My name is Kensley Phillips. I currently work at the Flagship, the Pineville location, and my role is sleep sales manager.
My name is Jim Walker. I am an expert. I'm here at the Flagship Pineville.
My name is Angel Santana. I am a VIP sales manager, currently at the Rock Hill Raiders.
My name is Josh Hatchell. I'm senior retail experience manager here at the Flagship, Pineville.
I've been a memory maker since April of 2024.
Been a memory maker since December 17th of 2024.
I've been a memory maker since March 9th, 2015.
I've been a memory maker since April of 2022.
So we at our Pineville location, and we actually have our bootcamp training going on right now. I've been to one similar. I went to the Advanced North Carolina training.
Like I said, training on the outside, but not on the inside.
Yes, actually I have. We did a summit not too many years ago at our Salisbury location where we learned a little bit about benefits and features of our product. However, it was not nearly this in-depth, so this was great.
I can count on my fingers and toes how many I've been to since being with Ashley with other retailers, and it was by far the most engaging, the most dynamic, and the most informational that I've had. Ashley does a lot of innovation, and their sustainability story is fantastic, but a lot of times it's one of those things that's just kind of goes under the radar in the way that salespeople talk to customers.
Just the construction that goes to something as simple as a dresser drawer. One of our instructors literally stood on top of the dresser drawer, and I was expecting it to break, and it did not break. That blew my mind.
What blew my mind is how many woods we use in our furniture.
The trainers taught it out, like they sold it to the salespeople, and they told us how to talk about it with the guests in a way that resonates our sustainability story and that is impactful to the individual consumers.
I think for me, what made it really special was learning about Ashley's environmental impact and how we strive for sustainability. So that really resonated with me.
Say for instance, structural, like on the reclinings and stuff like that, when they turn it over and they say, we got OSB, we got plywood, we got LVL, we got all this different kind of woods, the corner blockings made out of LVL for the support because that's stronger than wood. And I was like, I was blown away. Some of the detail and some of the stuff that structure-wise is in these pieces that I never knew about.
Sustainability comes into play again for me, and I like to talk about the woods we use because there's a lot of different types of woods, and a lot of those we use much more of the tree than other manufacturers, which I think is really special. I'm a big plant guy, so being able to talk to that with our guests is exciting.
So reclining, I never did that. I'm gonna flip it over and show her all that, the corner blocking, the grooving, all the different woods that we use.
I have an opportunity myself to use the case good demonstration a little bit better. We have a benefit of having a chest that was manufactured in 2016 on our floor and a one that was manufactured in 2023, and we can show the slight differences and changes in innovation, but also the quality control, the product finish.
Breaking down our stationary sofas, standing on all of it, giving them the construction of how ours differs from our competitors.
Especially on the sofas, blew my mind also. You know, she turned them over, and like just the back of the support is made out of LVL, which is, like I said, stronger than wood. And then the steel bracket in the middle of the sofa, which supports the middle, and then all the, you know, the technology inside, all the woods and the webbing and the stuff that we have, the nylon webbing that holds the support. It's 3 times stronger than coil springs. It's crazy.
I can take a drawer out from that 10-year-old piece and put it right up next to the new one, and it's exactly the same color, exactly the same wood grain, but the glides are better, the construction is better. We've made leaps and bounds in innovation and construction for the same price.
It was the drawers actually, because like I said, as soon as I seen her about to stand on it, in my head I thought that it was gonna break. And just seeing that it was supported her with something as simple as a drawer of a dresser, that just shows that the quality that gets put to all of our furniture is top notch.
Laminate veneer lumber, like I said, that's stronger than wood. I thought solid wood was the best thing there was to making furniture, but it's not. You know, it's got better, LVL's got better stress relief than wood. Doesn't have knots, you know, so it's way stronger and doesn't peel and peak and doesn't have knots and stuff like that. So it seemed like the structural pieces of our furniture is made with LVL, which is long lastability and support.
I think that would have to be the way we use mixed woods. I think I always thought of our furniture as being kind of one-sided almost, but learning that, you know, there's mixtures of woods, there's mixtures of fabrics, some are recycled, some are hardwood. It's really fascinating. The
Dryston bedroom dresser drawer, she stood on the bottom of it. I thought for sure, you know, as a B200 series that was gonna not be a great idea, but she stood on it, and just to know that our more economical options are still that durable is really important.
Other than the knowledge that I hadn't heard before on the insides of the structure and stuff like that we sold, the people that was engaged. You know, we have short crews instead of something, so it was amazing.
The length, wish it was longer so we could learn a little bit more.
Well, the panels, to speak on that again, that was a little surprising because I knew, sure, they had to have some way to ensure consistency at the end. I did not know they were checking all the way through. So that was a little surprising.
Standing on that Dryston drawer was, like I said, we all have this, you know, you can look at the glides, and if I can do the white glides on the dressers, and if I can pull it right out, there's no locking mechanisms or, you know, dual ball bearings.
And then, of course, watching Teresa stand on our sofas and even bounce a little bit was a little bit surprising.
To see even the most economical and our good story that has that much durability, I would have never thought to do that, but she did with such confidence, and now I know that, you know, Ashley from the very bottom all the way to the very top of the line has that story.
Just give me confidence when it comes to training staff, because one main part of being a sales manager is being able to train your team, and the confidence that I have as far as like what I'm talking about and being able to explain it to detail to my team will help grow this, like the whole store's KPIs.
Why did I not know this? Why did I not ask questions about this? Because I've heard, like I said, Chris and certain people talk about it, like, why didn't I ask? Now I know, and I wish I'd known that 10 years ago.
As a salesperson, I feel like every training you can get something from, whether it's how to talk about something, a new feature or benefit to talk about, or just more confidence and different verbiage in what you're hearing from the individual. I think it's really important to talk about those small things that create that expertise mindset. You are the expert towards the customer.
What I'm going to take away from this really is being able to convince our guests that Ashley is worth it compared to our competitors, especially if someone calls in and they said, hey, I found something comparable from one of our competitors on Furniture Row here down in Pineville. I'll be able to speak to why they shouldn't go with our competitors, because we have a superior brand, a superior quality that they're not going to be able to find anywhere else.
Oh man, Teresa's phenomenal. She is engaging, she's active, she speaks with such confidence and energy that like you can't help but listen to what she's saying.
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was a lot of laughs. Everybody was very into it. Everybody was asking questions. We couldn't get enough of it. So I mean, the energy was really good. Everybody was pumped to go back to their stores and to put it to the test.
It was really, really fun to see people getting involved and getting engaged. They made it much more interesting rather than just lecturing. You know, she brought people onto the sofa with her. She had people actually feeling, touching product. So it made it a really fun experience.
Even after lunch, we didn't all get the food coma. We were all still engaged and moving around and touching and pulling and doing all the things.
It was amazing. You can hear her from across the store. Everybody was engaged, they was listening, they was feeding knowledge. It was amazing. The way that she took that recliner and flipped it over and took the backing off of it and showed all the points, the pressure points, why this was there, why the LVL was made in the corners for structure, and the strapping on the dining. I mean, it's just blew my mind, the structure and all the time that it takes to make one piece, even in the cheaper sets that we have, is like incredible.
I love to flip over a recliner. I love to show the nuts and bolts and how Ashley sets ourselves apart from other vendors. You know, with the steel box frame versus like a wood construction all the way underneath. It moves, it's gotta be sturdy. You know, individual chairs, everyone spends a lot of time in them, so that they've gotta last. And Ashley, from the very entry level, has a frame that's gonna last.
Here at the flagship store, we do tend to get a lot of traffic, so it's not uncommon that you might find me on the floor helping out guests. So I think one of the ones that really made me kind of smile was demonstrating our decking underneath our stationary product and actually having the guests stand on our decking to prove that it's just a really sturdy, stable, but comfortable seat. I think that'd be fun.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. To watch this episode, go to youtube.com/@storiesfromtheriver. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.